Right, next up we have, Tim Howell is an idiot. I won't say that to his face, as he's also a Royal Marine Commando. Tim says that being in the Women's Auxiliary Balloon Corps has given him a mental and physical robustness that's helped progress his sport outside of work, where he focuses on climbing, mountaineering, and wingsuit base jumping. Please welcome Tim.
I often find myself standing on the edge of a mountain, thousands of meters of exposure below me. I put my kit on and I count down. 3, 2, 1, and I jump. But standing here tonight, I'm way more nervous than I ever was, standing on the north face of the Eiger about to jump off. On my 21st birthday, I started skydiving with the sole intention of becoming a base jumper. So 2 years to the day, on my 23rd birthday, I was in the south of France learning how to base jump. So what is base jumping? The difference between base jumping and skydiving is what you're jumping from. Skydiving is always from an aircraft, while base jumping is from a static object. And there are two types of base jumping. Subterminal, where you haven't fallen far enough to reach terminal velocity, and terminal, where you can reach speeds of up to 120 miles an hour, and that's where you can really start to adapt your body to fly. So 4 years ago, I just finished a long deployment in the Royal Marines, and I decided to take my leave in the south of Spain, learning how to wingsuit skydive. And this is where I met my to-be fiancée. And the first time that we talked together, she was actually telling me off. She was an instructor there. I'd fallen out of the plane at 15,000 feet, almost hit the tail, and she was really, really worried because the plane damages quite easily. So once you've learned how to skydive and you've learned how to base jump, you can combine those two skills to learn how to wingsuit base jump. You always learn from the plane first because it's a very controlled environment, while base jumping, all the information comes from yourself, and it's up to you to make the decision. And although Eva is a lot more experienced wingsuiter and skydiver than myself, we both started wingsuit base jumping around the same time, which has been this amazing chance to progress together and really understand each other's risk management. And Monte Brento in Italy is a great place to learn how to wingsuit base jump, if ever you guys ever want to try. It's 1,000 meters vertical drop, and it's only 20 meters from the car park. So, so you're not exhausted when you get to the exit point, and you can really just focus on the flight that you want to achieve. And in a wingsuit jump, we can control the speed, we can control our glide ratio. So normally I can fly a glide ratio of about 1 to 3. So every 1 meter lost in altitude, I can go forwards 3 meters, which is important because we can fly away from the cliff and open up in clean airspace. But it is possible to fly close to stuff. So it's always important to have a margin for error. So if I can fly 1 to 3, I want to make sure the terrain is a lot steeper than that. So I can dive down to it, and at any point, increase my glide ratio, detach, and open my parachute in clean airspace. And it is seen to be a dangerous sport, I can't deny that. But I know that flying with Eva, I'm going to stay well within my limits. And we're not seeking an adrenaline rush. We're really just trying to fly our bodies and jump off cliffs. And I really want to show my parents this, because of course parents worry. Maybe mine more than most. So we took them to the Dolomites to watch us jump. They stood at the bottom watching the wrong cliff for 3 hours. So the following year we took them to Switzerland, where they watched the correct cliff. We took them right up to the exit point, so there was no missing the action. And they really, I think their perception changed. They really saw how calculated it was and how calm it was. And although Eva is a very experienced skydiver, I got to teach her about mountaineering and coached her through the mountains. And this is myself on the north face of the Eiger. And throughout the first half of the climb, I could see this amazing formation called the Mushroom. And it's a detached pillar of rock. So I knew that I wanted to come back with Eva in the summer and jump from this amazing rock. So we actually flew over the same route that I had climbed previously in the winter. We landed in the Alpine meadows below. And after a few seasons jumping in the Alps, we wanted to take our skills further abroad. So I picked up Eva at Los Angeles Airport about midnight, drove to Yosemite, got there about 3, started on the 4-hour hike to the summit of Half Dome, and we jumped at sunrise, just in time to avoid all the rangers. They're not a big fan of it. And then the next on the list was the Grand Canyon, which is a really special jump because normally you start at the bottom of a mountain, you hike to the top, and you fly back down to where you start. But the Grand Canyon, you fly into it and have to find a way out. So it creates its own challenges. So we jumped, we landed on the riverbed. We had to find a way to cross the river. It looked a lot smaller from up top. Finding the widest part, we crossed the river. And then we found the only gully within miles and miles that actually breaches the canyon rim. And then back to the car. And then finally, this is a jump I'll never forget for many reasons. It's in Table Mountain. We climbed down to the edge of Table Mountain, geared up, and I proposed. And a lot of people ask, was I more nervous proposing or jumping? But I have to say that I've done many hundreds of jumps, and I hope to do many hundreds more, but I'm only ever going to propose once, so maybe there's your answer.